All right, so it's finally time to change this window. So we're gonna start out, we're gonna cut along the seal. Obviously I take the wiper blades off, and there's gonna be a lot of cleanup on this I'm gonna have to do. And then, well, you'll see the takeout and the install. Probably have to narrate a little bit, but you can see I've tried to do some things to seal this up, but it was Band-Aid at best. The Flex Seal didn't seal, because when it rains, I gotta put a towel on the dash. All right, let's see how this goes. All right, so we're just gonna start by running around this whole thing. I got a feeling most of the seal is just gonna crumble. You can see it's already falling apart. So this one's got goop all on the inside, so I'm gonna have to cut all the way around it. And unfortunately, the inside isn't as brittle as the outside. So you gotta go around and cut the inside and the outside. Now you're only supposed to put goop between the seal on the outside, but they goop the inside as well. So, okay, push on both sides a little bit, rock it a little bit. Okay, now lower it down onto the, so pick it up just a little bit. There we go, and lay it back. Perfect. Getting her all cleaned up. You know, luckily there's not any rust anywhere in this thing. I expected this thing to be all rotted out. So cleaning out the dash, we're gonna do a little finish work on this thing. And you can tell this thing is probably the original seal. That thing is dried out worse than the old penny slot player in the Arizona casino. And it's just dry, brittle. There's no elasticity in that thing at all. So, all right, so I brought some of these brushes to clean up some of this caulk, this thing and everything. So just to go through and get everything cleaned up without grinding it off. And I'm just using some of these fiber brushes, kind of like wire wheels, but they're fiber, they're abrasive. Cleans off without really taking off much paint, if any at all. What do you think, Duke? That's almost the cleanest that window's ever been. So we laid down trying to find a color that would go along with the theme a little bit. And so I found this primer. So we're treating this whole edge, because usually the edges around the window are the first things to rot. This one has 0 rot in it, which was kind of surprising. So then we're gonna lay down a coat of this clear. It's a, what is it, like a epoxy urethane type thing from Eastwood, that's it. Okay, so it's kind of neat. You take out this red cap, and you're supposed to place it on the lower side here. Then that, there's nothing telling you when you've pierced it. Ah, there we go. It pops. Okay. So I guess now it's pierced. Then you gotta shake it for another 2 minutes. And it says it's good for 48 hours. All right, the tape's all off now. Went ahead and put some clear on the dash. I can always scuff that up a little bit to get rid of the shine if that bothers me. But the big thing is I want to make sure there was paint all down in this tract here, that this all was well covered. But overall, I think it came out pretty good. Like I said, there was no rust in there, so that worked out great. All right, so we got the seal all in. Now we got to go through and put the sealer under it, snap it back in place. So when you put these seals in, you got to kind of put them in and stretch them and pull them, because you don't think they're going to fit. And then keep it taped so it doesn't fall. Then we'll work the window in. We're putting just a small 1/8 inch bead on this pinch seam. Don't go crazy. First time I did it, there was a 1/2 inch bead, and I had to totally start over. Just a small 1/8 inch bead. Put the tape on to hold everything. All right, in order to put this window in, there's a couple tools you're gonna need. So this little tool, it's got like a hook with a ball on the end of it, and we'll use that to put under the rubber and pull. And then we'll start in the center of the roof. You don't want to grind it on the glass. Right? So you'll pull out on it as it goes. You want to keep this thing wet, and just take your time, and you'll start in the center, and you'll work out, you'll work the corners in, kind of work it up, grab the center and work out. So just like you're seeing here, going this, slowly working in the center, I go to the corners, I work up the sides, then we'll get the top and the corners in, and it's slow, right? You'll keep using that. Now you'll also need some of these little trim tools. These little trim tools, you can buy these at Harbor Freight, just like here. So I have my daughter inside, she's actually pushing the seal out. She's pushing it out so that I can actually grab it with that hook tool and then keep working it. She's pushing on it, and then I'm grabbing with the hook and then walking it around. So as you get down to those last few steps, this end works great because you can wedge it under and you can work it around. You can rub it on the glass and you're not going to worry about chipping or breaking the glass. But one of your key tools you're going to need is that foaming window spray. You're going to use a ton of it. Keep this thing well lubricated inside and outside. Now, these cups work great, but if you buy these, buy the metal ones from Harbor Freight. That way you can pull it around, and then big open hands, right? You can see how much it moves, and you can work this window back and forth, up and down. You know, don't beat on it, just big open hand. And then to put that bead in, so this tool here works great, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to put this in the seal and you're going to work it. Now I'm keeping it sprayed, so you'll see here I'm actually putting it in that seal, and slowly, it's not a fast process. You're going to keep it sprayed, you're going to keep working all around the seal. Now when you get to the corners, it's going to be hard. Now what I liked about this tool is that you can unlock it, and I can push, I can pull, I can turn the handle 90 degrees so I can actually, you know, pull down the sides, whichever is best for you, and I'll put this in the link. But just keep it going all the way around the seal and it'll work good. Now at the very end, I cut this about 1/2 inch to 3/8 past where I started. And in the center of the glass, there's a little arrow. That's where I started. It's in the center. And then you're going to work it in. Now you can use these tools to work that seal in. So that tool is going to pop out periodically, and you can use these just to press it in. Don't use a screwdriver, and you can just use these to work it in. You can actually get under it and work it in. Just keep it wet. All right, so now for the next phase of this window, which is pretty much going to be the last, is we have to put the sealer on the inside of the gasket. There we go. So once again, that first goop you put on there, which don't get a lot on there, is this, I use this CRL windshield body sealant stuff. I'll leave a link. It does not harden up. So if you get it on your shirts or anything, don't think you just let it dry up. It doesn't. So now we're gonna go in with this window weld. All right, so let's see here. Pop the can. Oh, okay, so it's got like a plunger, so that just so it doesn't get air. That's good. So I guess, you know, she just feeds there. All right, so what we're gonna do here is we're just gonna work this up under the seal. We're gonna put a little bead up under there. Trying to get this done before the rain sets in. Gotta keep that tip in there by doing 10 things at once here. Now, obviously this is gonna be much easier when it's wet. It's a nice bead. You're gonna have some cleanup here. I'm just making so a little bit of ooze there. So what you're gonna see on the YouTube videos out there, some of them are gonna show using this, and some are going to show you not using this. So Precision Rubber Products is where I got the seal, and I called them on that because they have 2 videos out there. One they use it on a 72 and a 68 where they didn't. So what they told me was the one where they didn't use a seal, where they didn't use a seal in, I should say, They only did that so they can show you how to put the window in, but you need the sealant. Right, so this is a hardening sealer. And then the sealant that goes between the body and the gasket is a non-hardening. I'm just scraping it so that I can see it here. I can get this off with a razor blade later. All right, so when you're all done, just take a regular razor blade once this hardens, and you can just run it around on your glass. Don't stick it down in the seal, and you can clean up really good that way. Right? It'll be much easier once this hardens. Now the stuff on the outside will never harden, so that's a little different. Don't use paint thinner on your vehicles. But what you can do, this little Goof Off stuff, it'll take it off your hands, and I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not the best thing for the finish of your vehicle, but it will get it off of there. So I plan on putting another coat of Poppy's patina on it. It'll take it off your hands as well. Right, so as you wipe it down, it'll come off. So it's easy, just put a window in an old, this is a 70 D100, but if you're running an old rubber gasket like that, they're either rubber gaskets like that with that lock ring we put in, or the glue-on ones, right, the more modern. You're gonna have a hard time finding someone who'll do the older vehicles, at least in the St. Louis area. I found one person, he gave me a quote, but he didn't say he would do the job. So you can do it, just take some time, and get a tarp in case it rains. So I hope you enjoy this. Hope you enjoy this old Sweptline stuff here and all these old vehicles. See here for places to take old vehicle like this. Thanks for watching. Man, this stuff's everywhere.